First off, thank you to Aaron and Ryan and the coaches for putting everything together. They're pivotal in our industry, and I'm here to share some information, to do the best I can to learn from you, and certainly giving it my best here this morning to share some of the informations and learnings along the way. Have about 30 minutes. I'll start my phone here and make sure I'm on time. Yep. And you know, the biggest point too is there's no real one path to success overall. We all have different ideas and themes. You all are who you are, and it's really important to remain that as you move forward. And these are options. Note in the title, I think the title was on purpose to basically be complex and slow and misunderstanding, and that leads into the presentation here today. So there are options. Everybody's interested here, and many things that you can do as far as options within your program that we'd like to discuss. To make it clear, the target audience is from 15 to 18 or 15 to 20. You can scale it up or scale it down depending on what it is, but the idea is some of the information isn't targeted directly at a professional player in the National Hockey League playing at 25 years old, as we said. So feel welcome to scale it up to fit your program and your development program with your players, but that's where I was talking to Aaron, and we targeted it at that level. The objective today, what does success look like for you and I? And this is interesting and something that I want you to keep in mind for later on within the presentation today. It's real important that we all try to do our best to get a high retention rate, whether you're the player or the coach or here today but from a lecture, and that's what our goal is today. So later on we'll do a scale that will show us how important understanding retention rates and things of that nature, whether it be us as coaches when we try to learn or players that we do coach. I think where we start with this is the evaluation of an individual is what I call a speed mindset. So it's really important to say who are we, who is the player, who are we as a coach, and understand them, first as a person. We're all moving ahead to try to understand the players and as far as on the ice and skill development and the rest of it. But I feel it's really, really important. Even back when I played and before when I played, whether we stressed it or not, our communication was there, and it'll be very important going forward. We're all on this earth, and we move forward as a person and people, and you have to understand, and everybody's different, as I just stated. Everybody, certainly has a benchmark and where we are. Self-evaluation is really the only way that I feel that you can. Everybody starts at a different starting point. So whether you're coming from a different culture or languages, it's really important. We all believe that we all start here, and then we coach from that period on. But I think it's really important that you understand, what level your players are, and dig in, as we say. And we're all different from different backgrounds and different understandings. So early judgment, early assessment, no long-term runways. I think we sometimes can make decisions, myself included, way too early, and then somebody's, stuck in that path, so to speak, and they could have a bigger upside than somebody's there, and we'll discuss some of that. Preparation for video sessions and activation of their minds. So during the start of the week, I know some other programs that activate their minds as they come in, organizing your mind, making it simple at the start of a week, planning their weeks out, making sure their skill development, their schooling, their off ice, it all comes together. But it's important to sort of structure your program and maybe sit with them and at the start of a week, for example, and take 15 minutes as they come in and write things down and kind of move forward in that direction that will give them some structure for the week and give them some accountability. It's their plan, it's their development, they need to own it, and I think it's really important that you align and collaborate that as a coach. So sometimes the starting point again can be different, and then it's an assessment vehicle for you and the player to certainly understand where they're at on a weekly basis, because normally it starts right from when they enter into your program and how you're developing them along. Here's who we are today. This is us, right? So imagine yourself, coming in, to another country in another language and your retention rates, and here's our understanding. And when you're around some areas, it's really important to factor all of that in because, lower retention rates of humor and language and other things, and maybe inactivity or lack of excitement for somebody, coming from Switzerland or Sweden, or when I played over in Switzerland, sometimes you don't get that reaction. It's really important to understand, and that's where it dates back to understanding the person as a player and asking them that Google question that started when I was teaching at UPEI. It was basically, here's the class, and they grew the classes, and they got bigger and bigger, and it got out of control. And it was like, how do I get to know these people? And they're from 10 or 12 different countries, and so I just thought about it and said, let's write down everything that I can't find about you in Google, right? And a lot of players look at you and what do you mean? Like, I mean everything. Foods you like, movies you like, don't like, who are you, brothers, sisters, dogs, animals. It's a great question to start the starting point of saying, who are you as a person? And it relates back to that, but that's that understanding and that digging that you can do. And we've had success with that in the Hockey Canada programs. The staff worked hard with the preparation time to understand that, disclose information, make sure it's clear to all the stakeholders, make sure you're going out there with that. Don't hold back. That stress adds noise, and prevents that speed mindset we were talking about. It confuses people right from the start. It adds anxiety, right? So I think it's important that there's a couple of options again, as I said. Some players write a paragraph, some players have written 7 pages, and you find out unbelievable things. So when my classroom in UPEI teaching international business, it was like, wow, it would have taken me 7 years to know all those people and what they were doing behind, but through one application, so I carried it over when I was in the coaching industry and the development side. So it was easy to find that. I think another option is and a trend, because, and we'll address it a little bit later in something, being from the East Coast and icebergs and the rest of it, it's move measurement and analytics and noise forward. What I mean by that is really understand the process and the measurement earlier. The outcome is the game, and everything is evolved, and it's a great thing for our sport. And we're all here evolving every day. But the idea is move that noise earlier in the process. So the outcome that we talk about is basically more to do with the end, not the start, right? So ideas that you people can work on. Some of these I've tried, some of them I don't. I've written a few of them down. I mean, even music from different countries, or measurement and practices, and videotaping and practices, and videotaping how they walk in the arena. Even we've had for video sessions, how you look and how you need to be sharp as you go through there. So as you're developing players that come up to the professional ranks, how you get yourself ready in the morning. If you're a slow, not a morning person, then get yourself ready. Understand that, a coach is looking, as we all do, in a player's eyes, and the video and the level of detail that's required today has increased. So those are steps that you can help them with, and they should be moved up so that if they're not passing and they're not moving through the program that you have, then you can catch that before the game and the last outcome, right? That's the idea of moving things forward. Not that from a management perspective and coach's perspective at the end, it's all not important. We're in the results industry, but it's really important at the start to measure and define the process and not stereotype anybody and grade them from there, understanding who they are and where they can go. So give everybody a chance. Think slow to play fast, along the same understandings, right? A speed mindset. How do we do that? Shift downtime is a concept that we all have. The old way of 45-second shift or 30-second shift today. You might have the puck on your stick for 1 second. How do you become more efficient at the 29? Because as the game speeds up and you move through life or anything, and it's the idea is how do we become more efficient with our time so that that when I do get the puck, and it's really fast, and there's no more hooking and holding, and the game is great, and the speed and the skill, and everybody's rolling. But if the idea is how do we do more earlier? Same theme. Who do we know? Where is your benchmark? Where's the starting point? And then how do you get players to do more other than, one time for an option, I took a ticket and just said, here's the way you look like. You might as well just take your admission ticket and sit in the front row when you don't have the puck. So if you can take 3 decisions and move them down to 1, when you do get the puck, then you tend to how you think. It'll be faster. When you do get the puck, you can make quick decisions and better decisions, and your consistency rises in your play, and your outcomes, again, you don't have to worry about if you're measuring the process in advance. Bench downtime is something we discussed, and even when you're on the bench, you can be more efficient. Some of the best players at the National Hockey League, but we can teach the players at 15 to 20 the level of detail to gain an advantage. It's getting harder and harder and harder to gain an advantage. What do you see? What are you looking for? How do you think? Are you looking at the defenseman that just switched sides, can't turn right? If you're the greatest forward on the ice and you're trying to, those great players tend to either naturally do that, or they're thinking more when they're down on the bench, or they're looking at video. They're not just, looking at video, but their idea is they're actually finding an edge in their game while that time is slow, right? So it's no different than anything. This is a lot of common sense, but if you explain it in that way in a real simple format, and they can use the time, I've heard bench plays or holding the puck and doing the rest of it. The idea was you should know for example, you should know where the bench is when you come into the arena. If we are changing and they're changing and we want to move the puck, then we move away from the bench and we move up the ice fairly quick. If not, you're changing, and as Glenn said, we'll take your time and move the puck that way. But a lot of players you'll see, and other defensemen or forwards don't recognize even those details that you can before. And there's many of those that you can kind of work on. Pre-game research, student of the game, on and on. 45 goals, 5 assists, 5 goals, 45 assists. You should know those players and understand them. Before Google, I call it. It's kind of was this. This is me and Kate Breton, growing up, and Hockey Night in Canada, and Danny Gallivan and everybody, Dave Hodge, and TSN certainly wasn't around. That was a thrill. We got one channel, and Sportsnet, it was like, wow, this is pretty incredible. But, the foundation to everybody's development for up until that time was really well poured. Build the shoes from the sole up, and then, we'll shine them any way you want. So I used to say that, whoever I work for, or now with Belleville, if Crow wants to shine the shoes any way he wants, that's fine. But the idea is, for me as a developing coach, was to actually build the soul really well and simplify it down. So that's longer term consistency. How do we do that? How do we simplify, right? Put yourself in that mindset. And then that's where we were as we grew up. I mean, most of us here as people, when I look out, that was hockey. I never knew ESPN, I think, till maybe 20. I don't even know. And no Elliott, now there's Elliott. Elliott comes in after Google. It's more information, it's the internet. Now we have 5 Sportsnet channels, 5 TSNs, probably 140 channels on your TV. It's noise, man. It's coming at you, and it's noise, and you got to filter it. So the iceberg is the opposite now. So look at the foundation. If you can't get down to that foundation, it's really important that it's still there. There's players that, really have a tough time with saying, I don't know. And you'll find out a little later in a couple slides, we don't know. We don't know a lot of things. And the idea is to say, hey, get to that ground level, get to that base camp, get to that development program where you can grow from. Have people comfortable in saying as a person, as you ask that Google question, and as you went out, get them comfortable, vulnerable, and then all of a sudden they can grow with you. And then once you get everybody to a certain level, no different than going through school. Some people failed grade 8, some people did the rest of it, but the idea is it's just finding the benchmark and growing from there. It's not one answer for everybody. Everybody's different. That's a great thing. This is the future. So my mark here is dig in, everyone. 5G rolls in California. Speed mindset. Here we come. IR, VR. We'll be practicing. Let's get at it. 5G is going to change the world, they say. Who knows? But I know it's going to keep moving on in a great way. And hockey and sports is great. It's going to keep growing. kind of get ready. So if you're not using staffs and trying to learn a little bit, and some of this information, I've learned through experience, some it's understanding your team around you and your coaching staff and other players in the development team. You can always learn today and find that. That's what's on the way. These players and people, are just going to keep growing on us, and that's a great thing, and the game's going to get faster and faster. So it's really important to know that, hey, the best way is I really don't know. And I really don't know what, but can we learn something? Can we partner up? Can we do something together technology-wise? How do we do that? So you just have to start somewhere. Find your ground zero and start. Don't be afraid to say that. Players will feel more comfortable to say, I don't get it either. So just what I talked about before, some of my notes. If you come from Sweden and you're in a program, then let's play Swedish music. When I went overseas, they played CJCB on satellite radio one morning with Dave LeBlanc, who was my favorite sportscaster when I was growing up. It would be like, wow, that's great. I know I'm in Switzerland, but wow, that's pretty cool. I feel more at home, and I think there's all kinds of technology, so use it to your advantage. Don't try to jam everybody in a hole and here's where we're at. The idea is make it comfortable, make it welcoming, respect everybody around. It's really tough, as you're going to find out in the comprehension of what we're trying to do, and there's language issues, and there's cultural and humor and sarcasm. Oh, he didn't get that, or somebody else didn't get this. And it's like, well, no kidding, try yourself and out there as you're sitting in the audience today, if we flip I'm not good enough to flip it in a bunch of languages and do the rest of it, but wow, the world of hockey and sports growing, and just think about that when you're coaching somebody and they look a little confused, or maybe they're not interested, or we're doing early assessments. Don't judge them early. I've done a few other ideas here. You can try some. I didn't do them all, but maybe we practice, we go to the gym, we work with earbuds all the time. We work by ourselves, we do some other things. What's wrong with taking your earbuds out if you're working on your shooting, or we're doing some extra skill work, or you want to listen to CJCB Dave LeBlanc to feel good about yourself, or whatever the hell it is. It's like, hey, enjoy yourself. We'll address that. But find other ways to kind of make everybody feel comfortable. Do a cultural day. Have a country expert. We've got so many countries out here, probably a dozen countries. I'm sure you people all know who grew up there and had a culture and the food and the rest of it. Way more than when I traveled through or lived a couple of years in your country. So, hey, let's educate everybody about that. You might have to play there someday. It could be an advantage. It's just a disconnect for your mind, and it actually makes you relax and go through your program. So, we can share ideas. If you have other ideas that you try, throw it out there. Throw some stuff up against the wall. But it'll be fun. It'll make it enjoyable for the players. It's kind of, I walked by on my walk this morning, and I thought that was an East Coast thing, and everybody around Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, PEI, Atlantic Canada, that come from away play. I walked by, I was like, oh my God, that's us. Did it start there? That's who we are. What the hell is that doing in downtown Toronto with a play that now nobody can, what is it, a lineup? You can't even buy tickets for the thing. I think I was in New York. You just can't go near the place. It's pretty wild, right? That was us, I thought, 100 years ago. I don't know, you're coming, you're trying to fit in and think about that. I had a slide. I didn't want to, get too, that way, but it was like, hey, I took a picture on my phone so I could show some of the guys or maybe use it. So think a little bit, that way. Come from away. We're all from away. I'm from away. I'm nervous here. We're nervous. How do we get out? And then we get in the plane. It's like, hey, but you know what? You find everybody's great people for the most part. So everybody can learn from everybody. So don't worry so much, and we don't know it all. Options, help me out. Back to the third slide. Our objective, key ingredient, we'll show you some science behind it of why. If you have a lecture, you have a practice, you have meetings, you do anything as we did today, you get an actual A+ if you're 98% of the population. If you get 30% and you retain this, it's a pretty wild score. So as a developing coach or anybody in that nature, that's pretty shocking. So you went over things a couple of times, you might have increased that player retention rate to, that's the top end, that's A+. I didn't get many of those, but it's A+. A, 25%, B, scale it down. If you're a C, which most of us are, B, C, just because you go to school and just because I graduate or whatever, it didn't mean I made 99, trust me. I I wouldn't let me fly the plane or operate on you, but the idea is I passed, right? And that's important. So I think the idea here is factor that in, stay humble. I'm not that good. And I remember, Dr. Dean Tripp there is a colleague of mine in Belleville, and he came up to me and it's like, geez, we're frustrated by it, or we can't get this player, or their languages, I don't know, we're just not getting it. And he said, Boots, you're just not that good. And I went, oh, come on, man, I got an ego, I'm good, and it's like, no, you're not that good. And it was kind of like, hey, before I thought I was great, we all think we're great, but hey, players aren't that great, be humble, he said, in reference to the fact that work on it, repetition, small chunks, we'll go over the science behind this, but understand where we're coming from. Miller's theory, it relates to that. Everybody in the education industry, was great to be on the other side of things and teach in small chunks, review and discuss, teach to one another. And there's the next slide that kind of went, okay, so they need to do the self-assessment. You need to let them talk. You need to fill that out. You need to connect. You need to kind of say, hey, you go find in your video reviews and your self-assessment, you go find the positives of these elements in your game. So if you had a great forecheck or your line worked together, then you guys sit down and you fill out a form, real simple, you find those elements that you think you executed really well, right? And some players go, oh, great, coach, I'll do that. And some players go, oh, geez, it's a little late or it's Monday. And then finally you meet with a player, for example, it's like, I don't understand, what a good forecheck is, so I can't really pick it out. But geez, thank God we discussed that. That's the band has to play, as I always say, in March and April and May when you're coaching that age group. The band has to play in the NHL like in April 15th. There's limited coaching goes on there. But these are great things to find out in development camps, training camps, early in the season. Like ask. We don't know it all, they don't. They start at different points. Once you get everybody to a certain level, like a classroom, now we can excel. But it's really important to factor in that individuality, that's there. It's always been there. This isn't new. This isn't like we don't care about anybody individually. It's then you bring it together as a team, then their line mates are less frustrated. You can kind of align that way. Don't force that square box down, and that's all it is. And the retention, as we said, keep factoring in that A plus B. 20% of this presentation's going home today, and I'm trying my ass off here. Phillips Exeter, Harvard's prep school, driving down the East Coast. Oh wow, there's some good schools down there. And you go into this place, and then it's, I had my nephew Ryan Camp, who I'm really proud of. He went down and became the captain from New Glasgow. Down in, now as a UMB student up there, proud UMB guy, with Gardner and the rest of the guys. How do they teach? So why are they being way more productive than what I understood in Sydney with a classroom? What's going on here? Why are they enjoying it? Why do they make their bed? Why do they clean the car? Why are they doing the rest of it? How are they doing this? And when you do a little bit of research behind it, that's the table. So if this was your defensemen or your forwards or your goaltenders or whatever it is, they need to teach themselves. You need to facilitate that. You need to do the rest of it. But hey, let them do some of their own coaching. They own their game. They do the rest of it. That's the science that's based on it. And it's not secretive information. You can go on their website and pump it up, and there it is. So factor that in with the retention rates and how they're going to learn, and let them, for instance, in the future maybe have a line, get their own shifts, work it out. Once every 2 weeks, give me a report, guys. What the hell's going on? But the idea is or tell defensemen, here's when you made some good judgments. You pick out, how your eyes were, or your stick positioning, or the rest of it. You pick out those times. And what I found was it was a great vehicle and method for a coach and a development coach to find out who knew what and what you needed to work on, and then that rolled up into their individual development plans. Right? Hope it makes sense. Haha. We all didn't grow up in Cape Breton and play road hockey and on the pads and the rest of it without having feel, right? So the bottom line here is I call feel like the mortar for all the old hockey guys, which I am. Deep down, I love the game. I'm back in the game. I love teaching, but the mortar in that, is the feel, right? That's what you get through experience. It's not all in books. Right? Let me make it clear. It's not all there. So as you work along and you have people you can mentor from and do the rest of it, we've all had those in our lives. It's really important to understand that feel is a big component. Timing, EI grades, what the hell is going on, how you manage that, how you earn your respect for your players. We kind of all know this, but it's an important thing to say as we grow into that IR, XR, it's like, world, what's coming? I don't even know. You might be here in 5 years, and I might not even see you, but you're sitting at home or something. I have no idea, but that what might happen. Unfortunately, there's still the feel, there's still the interaction needed, there's still the fan experience that's important, coaching experience passed along, still personal. Believe. Need it. Have to have it in everything we do, Not because Mr. Friedman's here, but you hear him, you can rewrite your life. It stuck with me. You can kind of rewrite it anytime. You can rewrite your career. You can do some things like, hey, you have to believe. You can make a change, right? And the idea is dig deeper, find the reasons to get better and rewrite your career. Sometimes it's important for a coach, and we'll talk about it, not to be in those meetings. I've talked about where everybody slots. Is a D1, he's a D2, he's going to be a 6'5", guy, he's going to be a 4'5", guy, he's 15, where he's 16, and some people, as a scout or a development coach, it's a different role, right? We have to be the believers, we have to be the ones that teach, we have to be the ones that find the bottom. Don't make those early assessments. Everybody at 15, 14, 12, they should be rolling to be a 1D, 1-2D. That's it. Right? Go 4 wide on the racetrack. We got 5 coaches behind the bench. Mr. Arbor would be going, oh my God, where's that information from? Brian Kilray. The 7th coach is talking to the other coach on the, it's like, but the idea is understand that, that how you teach and how you layer is like going to school. Right? Layer your program once a month, align your message. Understand that you don't teach it all at once. We don't come in here and throw the dominoes on the floor, even though this is a tough weekend to comprehend in our retention rates, but understand that fact that, hey, teach it in order. So if you get a young player and, here's where we're at, and it's like, he's 4 wide on the racetrack at Woodbine. Leave him pace there. He's young, he can pace there. Guys like me at 55, I got to be on the rail, I got to sneak up the rail, I got to do all kinds of things, I got to be smarter. But sometimes it's just nice to say, you know what, if you do the other things we're working on for a month, you go ahead. And everybody go, oh my God, you got to talk to them. No, then you chip away at their confidence, you chip away at the rest of it. Everybody's got it. So if my hand's wrong, I'm sure I did a million things wrong here today, but it's like, here's what it is. So if we have all those coaches here and everybody saying, no, Paul, do this, right? And do that, my earphone and the rest of it. After a while, you're like, the other experience I can share with you, what do I need to work on? Right? A young player comes up to you and he says, what do you need to work on? Right? Sometimes it's best just to say it from the rest of it, absolutely nothing right now. You're darn good. Don't answer that question. Right? We all have things to work on, hopefully. We're all moving ahead. We're all rewriting our life. But the idea is, I remember when I was with St. John and the Sea Dogs, who was blessed to be around with all that winning tradition and the rest of those guys, and we'd draft a kid and be like, hey, what do I need to work on, coach? And it's like, we thought you were pretty good. We drafted you. No, but tell me what you need to work on. No, like if you don't think you're that good, then maybe I should tell the people on the scouting team to put you back in the pond. Oh, no, I'm okay. Well, okay, well, be okay. We all have things to work on. Layer your programs and the rest of it. It's not like here's a master's course and away you go, day 1. But understand that's a part of the process. It's part of your development process. We're not, they're trying to learn. They're trying to maintain their confidence. They need that to think fast. They need that at the end of the outcome to kind of play fast. They don't need to get it all there. So sit down with your staffs, work out a program. Here's what we're going to teach. Sometimes I communicate, remember the target audience, 15 to 18 to 20, communicate that with their parents, communicate that with their stakeholders. Here's what we're working on. Feel welcome to do that. Their agent, their surroundings around there. So when they look at the same game, it's okay. Invite everybody into that process. It's okay. It's okay. Believe. Dean Tripp. Right? Why not? Somebody has to do it, right? Everybody out there is going to win something and continue on their careers and give it a shot. You never know. We don't have it all figured out, right? You're possible. Have fun, right? Skill development, music, emojis. I kind of know what emojis are after dealing with them for about 3 or 4 years, but it's like, we hand them up put them on the glass for skill development days and the rest of it. And it was like, oh well, maybe that'll go over well or not. I don't know. Man, everywhere I go now, it's like the emojis are out. Boots, do you have the 3-star emojis? And, are we doing the rest of it? Where's the dog? Where's the dog? And it's like sometimes the dog can be good, and sometimes the dog can be bad. But I couldn't believe it all the way through my career. They're all kids right now in development in Belleville when we skill development with Dono and the rest of those guys. It was like we come out and, they're all still hanging in their stalls months later. That's what I got. We're there. Don't be so serious sometimes. Have some fun, right? So it's okay, right? And we're at there. Maybe it would carry over. I don't know. Maybe whatever, but give it a shot. They seem to like it. That says it all. Stood next to me 3 years. He's the inspiration. Keep rolling. Enjoy your conference. Proud to be here. Proud to answer questions, and good luck with your seasons. Thank you.